we begin with a spectacular story about the rescue of 12 young boys. Joining me now to discuss all of it, NBC's Dylan Dreyer, and also, wait for it,
American Ninja Warrior.
Yes, Akbar, Gbaja-Biamila, and Matt Iseman, co-hosts of American Ninja Warrior.
It's like this all the time.
As you should. Yes. Hey,
Good morning.
good to see you. Hey, Matt.
I don't even know. I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah,
we don't
go
want to
for it.
block you.
Go for it.
They're putting the slabs of meat in back.
I want a bodyguard like this.
Have you
all
ever
the
felt
time.
like so diminutive?
Short?
That's how I feel next to these guys.
I totally agree.
Right? So this story is incredible out of Thailand, right? We haven't been paying much attention to this, but what's going on is stunning. 12 boys and their soccer coach in Thailand are trapped in a flooded cave. They've been looking for them and looking for them. And after 9 days of waiting, yesterday divers discovered all of them are alive. But not yet out of danger. Okay, they're not yet out of danger. They're still in a cave. And it's like finding a needle in a haystack, but they did it. But now the question is, how do the rescuers get all of them out and home? NBC News correspondent Janice Mackey-Freyer has the story out of Thailand. Watch this.
How many of you? 13. Brilliant.
Prayers from around the world answered by a miracle. All 12 missing boys and their coach found alive after being trapped in the flooded cave system for 9 days. Their first words to the 2 British divers that found them more than a mile underground: thank you. The boys, ranging in age from 11 to 16, still wearing their soccer gear, sitting on a mound in a cave, tired, hungry, barefoot, in almost total darkness, but alive.
You have been here 10 days. 10 days. You are very strong.
I am really happy.
We are happy too.
On dry land, jubilant cheers from relieved family members and rescuers.
The fact that all of them survived really says someone in that group has to be a morale leader. Someone is telling them, we're just going to live hour by hour, half a day by half a day.
But finding the children is just the first step in what is still considered a very risky rescue effort. None of the boys know how to swim, and they need to be taught how to negotiate tiny underwater passages. Rescuers working out how to best get the boys out, briefed on using full face masks. Experts say it could be weeks, if not months, until they can get the frightened boys out safely. Medical divers are being sent in to evaluate their health, and food is also being brought to the kids who have not eaten in over a week. Rescuers are fighting rising waters, strong currents, and mud, and the threat of more rain later this week. American military specialists joining Thai special forces in the effort.
It's just amazing to see the hugs and the donations and just the thanks. It really just gives me chills.
The boys are more than a mile deep inside a chain of caves. Rescuers have been using huge pumps around the clock in an effort to reduce water levels. Relatives, desperately waiting since the boys went missing, are overjoyed that they've been found.
I think it's one of the most wonderful things that has happened in our world for a very long time.
The divers who found the boys trying to give them hope.
Many people are coming. We are the first. Many people coming.
Unbelievable, right?
Wow, yeah.
It's like, so they're not out of the woods, clearly. They can't swim, and they got to figure out, they're up against the clock because they're expecting major thunderstorms coming again.
And it's incredible to think they're pumping out water constantly, and the water levels are only going down so slowly. But if they get those downpours during the rainy season, the water fills up so quickly.
Right.
And you can see, too, how close the water was to the edge of that. You don't know how much that water is going to fill up.
And you can't predict right now just how much rain they'll get over the next couple
Think
weeks.
of the terror of sitting in there. They don't know whether it's day or
dark,
night. Right. What is it day? Is it night? They have no food, not knowing whether anybody would ever come. And then somebody did.
This reminds me of the Chilean miners in 2010 when the collapse happened, and they spent 69 days underground. But what this is also a testament to the best of humanity, that for the past 10 days, people from around the world have been moving heaven and earth to find these kids.
And didn't give up.
And they didn't give up. But it's also why I don't spelunk. I don't go anywhere near this is my worst nightmare come to life.
When I was in South Korea for the Olympics, we did go spelunking. And the whole time, I'm the nervous wreck going,
This is
Yeah, are you sure?
You know, it's funny 'cause I don't even know what spelunking is.
No, neither did I. No. I think it has to do with a cave.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't mess around with things like that. But, you know, I will say this is a testament, though, to those kids, too, and their resiliency, the coach, keeping all those
coach is
kids.
a kid.
Yeah,
He's 25.
Yeah, but keeping all of them together and just thinking about those young kids
Right.
being able, going a week without eating.
Yeah.
Keeping morale up.
I mean, keeping the morale up, that right there. I mean, you know you got a beastie team right there.
And
that
how
can play.
about the two doctors who agreed to go into the cave and stay there
for
with
who
them?
knows how long.
At great risk to
Yeah.
themselves, but they said, we're going to stay, we're going down. I just, you know, prayers out to those kids and to the soccer coach as well.
And
but
to
I
their
just,
families at home.
They must be
waiting
so
for them to get
relieved.
What a
back.
miracle that is.
and I can't imagine what those mothers feel like, right? It's like the boys have been found, so thank God, because this easily could have gone another way.
You
Right
can
now,
you can see the difference too. I mean, you know, the parents are going over the top, and the kids, they're excited that they've been found. But there's also that, like, well, when are we getting out of here?
yeah.
You know, when you
and
hear,
the first thing they shouted was food.
Food,
We
yeah.
need food.
11-year-old kids in there. They're going
I
to get some
know.
Oreos.
Keep them in your prayers, right? Keep them in your prayers. And I love that it's an international effort now.
Yes.
Over 1,000 people from all over the globe are going there to help them. So it's just one of those stories about the best of humanity and the dangers of Mother Nature. All right. So speaking of humanity and Mother Nature, one of the other stories making the rounds today is of this giraffe who was killed by Tess Thompson Talley. You remember Cecil the lion and how he was killed by that dentist? Well, now Tess Thompson Talley says, look, I was on a legal, permitted hunt, and this giraffe, he wasn't endangered. He was rare because he was old, but she killed him, and she's very happy about it. She said it was a dream come true to take down this giraffe who was 18 years old. And people are reacting so strongly to this because he's such a beautiful animal. And I think those of us who don't hunt struggle to understand how you get joy from killing an animal.
You know, the struggling is, you know, having played in the NFL, you know, you think about, you know, everyone say hunting is a sporting game. And I think most sports, I mean, typically involve two parties who are involved in consent that they're going to compete against each other. But when you get one person who's unarmed and ends up dead and doesn't know that they're a part of this game, they're going about their natural life. I mean, to me, I never understood. I'm an inner city kid. I never got the idea of I'm going to just shoot this animal and kill this animal for no reason.
For fun.
Yeah, for fun.
I understand hunting. My brother's a hunter, but he also gets the deer and he eats every single part of the deer. His whole family lives off this deer. You know, that's one thing. But hunting for sport,
Well,
just
she
to
did
hang
say,
something,
she
I
did
don't
say they got
understand.
2,000 pounds of meat from this giraffe, which they
So
do
you
eat.
can eat
You can
giraffe?
eat giraffe, but what her point was, and this was interesting because I went on giraffeconservation.org to check this out. The giraffe
You're
numbers
there
are
every morning.
decreasing. Well, this is one of the things I wanted to learn about this because I didn't want to jump to any conclusions. And giraffe numbers are decreasing, but the South African giraffe numbers are increasing.
Yeah, this is
And
not
the
an
reason-
endangered animal.
The reason is, they say, because of hunters, the funding that these hunters pay for permits. And that allows the funding of conservation efforts, and that's why this particular
Okay, but what the
species
other
is
side would say is, if you want to, conserve giraffes, then why don't you just cut a check?
Well,
You don't have to pay to kill them. Like,
but
how do
the hunters are the only ones who are paying. And so, you know, while people are saying we want these animals, again, where do you put your money?
Yep.
And unfortunately, you know, that the only people who are willing to pay the money are the hunters. So
Well,
it's
and
I think
hard
that's the difference
reality.
between, you think about like PETA. I mean, of course, everybody knows about PETA, but then you look at the hunters versus the money that they get from the licensing and all of that stuff. And PETA, they don't put the same type of money into conservation as you would for hunters. And so I think that's the difference. It's like, it does come down to, where are you going to put your money?
It's like it's so hard not to come at this from an emotional place,
Yes.
right? Because it's like, as an animal lover, you just see this beautiful creature and you say, who would kill it after it lived on this earth for 18 years? It's beautiful. It's in its natural habitat. And who would kill for joy? Who kills for joy? But
What if it were your dog?
But
What
I
if it were your
understand.
dog?
I understand that, and I also understand overpopulation, like especially with deer. We hear about that a lot. And her point is, she said, look, this giraffe is 18 years old, beyond breeding age, yet had killed 3 younger bulls who would have been able to breed. This causes the population of that herd to go down. And she said further, I get that hunting's not for everyone, but to make threats to anyone, because she's getting threatened because they don't believe the way you do is completely unacceptable. And that is also true.
Well, that's
you may not like hunting, but if it's lawful,
Which is, again, where on the spectrum do you place human life? I think most people would say humans are above a giraffe, but that these people who call for the conservation of the giraffe are then calling for her head, which isn't exactly practicing the sanctity of life that you're preaching.
Exactly.
I have a special place for giraffes. There's a conservation facility. I think it was in Connecticut where I did a story, and they had a couple of giraffes there, and you could get close enough to pet them. And I don't know, I had this weird bond with this one giraffe who kind of came over and he rubbed his neck up to
well,
me.
They're potentially dangerous, though. Remember the giraffe?
This one was very weird.
But the giraffe. Somebody recently was killed. But somebody was recently killed by a giraffe. I mean, I'm not saying that. It's just look, they're animals and they're in the wild, and that's sort of their domain. That's their barrio. And to me, it just feels like that's their barrio.
I like that, Megyn.
It just feels like it's not like they came.
Into colors here. What is this?
I'm just saying, like I'm on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, and I see some like rhino coming by. I'd probably be in my rights to defend myself.
This is my barrio. What you doing in my hood?
You go into their neighborhood and start shooting them down. It just feels like I don't know. Okay. All right. Sorry. Cue all the letters from the hunters and the letters from PETA, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Hello, Today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking that button down there and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives.